Have you ever promised yourself, tonight, I'll start? But when night comes, you're still glued to your phone, comforting yourself with, I can do it tomorrow? The truth is, most of us know exactly what we need to do, but still don't do it. And procrastination is quietly draining your life away, bit by bit. Day after day, you wake up to a mountain of unfinished tasks, looming deadlines, a tired body, and a stressed mind. Your brain reacts to a last-minute deadline by pumping adrenaline, cortisol, and dopamine into your blood, making your heart race, your mind sharp like a spotlight, and suddenly you get everything done in 2 hours, even though you've been lazy all week. Deadlines are like an instant fix, but they wear down your body and kill your creativity. If you keep going like this, your future will be a half-done career, missed opportunities, and you'll be drowning in regret, wishing you'd started earlier. The good news is that in the next few minutes, I'll help you uncover the real reasons behind your procrastination, the hidden enemies that are controlling you, and how to turn deadlines into a driving force that helps you not only break free from the procrastination loop, but also become the master of your work, easier, smarter, and way more effective. Now, let me show you the dark side of procrastination and how to turn it into real strength. Ready? Part 1. Procrastination is not an innate trait. Many people think procrastination is part of their nature. I was born this way. I'm just the type of person who's always late. Wrong. Completely wrong. Think back to when you were a baby. You never procrastinated. When you were hungry, you cried. When you were tired, you slept. When you needed to be held, you cried out immediately. There was no, I'll deal with it tomorrow. Procrastination didn't exist in your original software. What does that mean? It means procrastination is not in your DNA. It's a habit you learned while growing up. Just like when you learned to ride a bike or use a phone. Procrastination is also a skill. The unfortunate thing is, this skill pulls you down instead of lifting you up. A study from the University of Calgary followed hundreds of students for 6 years and found that first-year students almost never considered themselves procrastinators. But by the time they reached their final year, that rate had increased. Why? Because they had slowly turned procrastination into a habit. It wasn't because they were lazy by nature, but because they had practiced the wrong thing for years. I've fallen into that trap too. For 3 years in college, I convinced myself, this is my way of studying. I only get things done when the pressure is on. Sounds cool, right? But in reality, it was just an excuse not to change. And you know the result? There were semesters with mostly C grades, assignments turned in late, and my body exhausted from staying up all night. Never label yourself as a born procrastinator. When you believe in that label, you give it the power to control your life. The truth is, if a habit can be learned, it can also be unlearned. So, how do we get rid of this habit? First, we need to point out who's behind the scenes, quietly controlling your procrastination every day. Let's name the hidden enemies that trap you in the procrastination loop in the next part. Part 2. The 3 hidden enemies. If procrastination is just a habit, then who's pulling the strings making you procrastinate over and over again? It's not just one, it's 3 hidden enemies. Imagine you need to write a 20-page report, but no one gave you a clear outline. You stare at the blank screen and your brain screams, let's just open Netflix instead. The first enemy is ambiguity. When a task has no clear starting point, your brain chooses the easier option, checking your phone, scrolling the web, eating snacks. This isn't laziness, it's a defense mechanism against chaos. I want to share how I made tasks as clear as possible by breaking them down and writing out the first step. Instead of write the report, start with write the title for the cover page. Then it could be search for images. Creating a list of tasks will help eliminate the ambiguity of not knowing what to do next. The second enemy is fear. Once you know what needs to be done, the next enemy is fear. Fear makes us procrastinate on the most important things. Fear of being judged keeps you from presenting. Fear of failure stops you from starting a business. Fear of getting hurt prevents you from diving into a relationship. Sometimes we hide fear by saying, I'm not ready yet. But I bet you'll never be 100% ready. So the small action is the antidote to fear. Just do it. Try calling one client before calling the entire list, or write one paragraph before thinking about finishing the whole 20-page report. The final enemy is your brain. Your brain is programmed to choose instant rewards over long-term ones. If you're given a choice between a donut and a goal of losing 10 pounds in 3 months, your brain will definitely choose, eat the donut now. You've got 3 months to lose the weight. If you're faced with Netflix and a report due in 2 weeks, your brain will pick Netflix. This is called the present bias. Don't wait for motivation. Long-term motivation can't beat instant rewards. You have to create short-term rewards to compete, like allowing yourself 10 minutes of watching short videos after writing 300 words. This not only gives you motivation, but also helps increase your creativity for work. The three hidden enemies, ambiguity, fear, and present bias, are the invisible strings that keep you stuck in the procrastination loop. If you don't recognize them, they will control you forever. And when these three join forces, they create a very powerful loop. A loop that makes you feel both high and exhausted, while slowly draining your true potential. In the next part, I'll show you how the brain turns procrastination into a dangerous love affair with deadlines. Part 3. The deadline loop. Why do you work so hard like a superhero at 2 a.m. before the deadline? Because you're experiencing something special with the deadline. Every time you wait until the last minute to start working, your brain is going through a rush that feels just like a thrilling challenge. As the deadline gets closer, adrenaline pumps into your blood, making your heart race and your mind sharpen. Cortisol floods your system, giving you energy as if you're facing a big challenge. Dopamine brings a sense of excitement, making you feel full of energy. And after you finish the task, endorphins kick in, making you feel like you've just overcome a huge obstacle. This is the superhero feeling you get at 2 a.m. before your report is due. The rush of the deadline is like drinking an energy drink. It feels great, but the cost is stress, sleepless nights, digestive issues, and an impact on your heart. The deadline rush gives you power, but it also takes something away: excellence. When you only start at the last minute, you don't have time to revise, be creative, or improve your work. You submit the assignment, you survive, but the result is just a C+. Think about it. How many times, once, twice, or even 10 times, have you wished, if I had 2 more days, I could have done better? The deadline rush is an illusion. It gives you a powerful feeling, but in reality, it's stealing your health, creativity, and your future. So, how do you break free from this loop? There's a secret not many know. A way to turn the deadline rush into a powerful tool instead of a burden. It's the 90% early work, 10% final touch formula, and I'll share it with you right now. Part 4. The 90% early work, 10% finishing solution. What if you can't completely get rid of the excitement from deadlines? Why not turn it into your secret weapon? The 90-10 formula, simple but incredibly powerful. This principle comes from master performers and leaders. They always do 80–90% of the work early, leaving only 10% for the last-minute moment. Steve Jobs often worked on his keynote presentations early on, but the final 10%, the small details, the highlights, he kept for just before the event, when he could feel the audience and the context. The result was every keynote was both polished and emotionally powerful. Why does this formula work? Because it's safe. Completing 90% of the work early helps you avoid stress, keep your health in check, and control the outcome, because it harnesses the excitement of deadlines in a controlled way. The remaining 10% lets you use adrenaline as a boost, not as a crutch, because it sparks creative breakthroughs. In a moment of light pressure, your brain often comes up with unexpected ideas, but since most of the work is done, you have time to add them without worrying about ruining the whole project. Many people hear about this formula but misunderstand it. Instead of 90–10, they turn it into 0–100. That means doing nothing until the last minute and then hoping the deadline rush will save them. That's not a secret. It's lazy planning. Let's say you have an important presentation in 2 weeks. In the first week, you finish 90% of the content, slides, structure, and basic practice. In the last 1 or 2 days, you save the final 10% for the last touch. Tweak the wording, add a story, and maybe an impressive image based on real emotions. Try it, and the results will surprise you. This solution is especially great for freelancers. When they apply the 90–10 formula to design projects, not only do they meet deadlines, but they also add creative details that leave the clients extremely impressed. This way, freelancers go from being deadline junkies to deadline masters. The excitement from deadlines is no longer a burden. With the 90–10 formula, you turn it into a driving force that helps you go from just enough to pass to outstanding excellence. Next, if you want to break free from the deadline addiction, you'll need to reset your entire work habit, from how you start to how you reward yourself. And that's exactly what I'll share in the next part. Final part: rebuilding habits. You don't need to get caught up in the excitement of deadlines. You can train your brain to be driven by success instead. Instead of waiting for one big deadline, create smaller deadlines. Write 300 words before lunch or finish one slide by 3 p.m. Each micro deadline is like a clean dopamine boost, just enough to make you feel like you're making progress. And start the right way. Starting is always the hardest part, so try to begin with just 2 minutes. Open your laptop, write one sentence, or read one paragraph. This small action breaks the inertia and helps you slide into a productive flow. If motivation doesn't come on its own, trick your brain with instant rewards. Instead of waiting for adrenaline from a deadline, create your own mini rewards. A nice cup of coffee, a favorite playlist, or 10 minutes of watching a short video after completing a micro deadline. Little by little, you train your brain to love the feeling of finishing early instead of the rush of last-minute pressure. You're not a born procrastinator. You're a warrior who can retrain yourself. Deadlines are no longer the enemy. They're your ally if you know how to control them. Start today. Create a micro deadline for the next 24 hours. Complete it, and when you do, share it in the comments below. I broke the loop with my first micro deadline. Not only will this remind you to take action, but it will also inspire thousands of others watching this video with you.